Did you know that the OG Beyblade had its own movie? Like how Digimon had its film with Fox Kids and Yu-Gi-Oh had its movie through Warner Brothers. The film slots in between V-Force and G-Revolution, the second and third seasons, leaning on the V-Force art style but featuring the first appearance of G-Revolution's Daichi. The Beyblade movie had one of the most absurd international release timelines I've encountered in my time covering 2000s anime. Released in Japanese theaters in 2002, when it made sense, it then came to home video in North America in 2005 with an English dub produced by Nelvana and distributed by Miramax, featuring the original cast of the TV anime. 1 year later, it had its television premiere on Canada's YTV in 2006, and then 3 years later, it saw its American televised premiere on Cartoon Network in 2009, a year before the Metal Fusion reboot project hit North American TV stations in 2010. Needless to say, without a theatrical release, the film was denied a cultural moment like Digimon the movie opening weekend, or the summer that Yu-Gi-Oh the movie came out, where every kid I knew was talking about the movie pack cards. While Beyblade was just as big as those other two franchises, its movie going straight to home video meant that it did not get the marketing push those theatrical films did, and so many fans never knew this movie existed. Today we're reviewing Beyblade Fierce Battle, or Bakuten Shoot Beyblade the Movie Fierce Battle, Takao vs Daichi. As mentioned, the film adopts the V-Force art style, and with the team mostly united, more on that later, it's clear it takes place either after or midway through V-Force as opposed to before. The film opens with Tyson Bay battling in some unimportant tournament while a mystery child, Daichi, rushes through the busy streets of a Japanese city. Immediately, it's clear that the art and production quality has been dialed up for the movie, as this city is gorgeous. The 2002 city makes you nostalgic for a place you've never been, especially when you remember Beyblade is most often set in either small town Japan or big cities abroad. Daichi was rushing to Tyson's match so that he could challenge the champ himself. After seriously injuring the referee, this weird kid demands a match and gets his wish. From the stands, Ray, Hillary, Max, and Chief watch on and commentate, with the latter two's voices having majorly dropped. Remember, this was recorded after G-Revolution in 2005, but features Season 2 art, making this a bit jarring. Still, sticking with the original teen actors and not recasting is consistent and commendable. The voice of Chief in particular, though, really struggles to fit that extra tiny character model that they had for Chief during V-Force. So while Tyson and Daichi are battling, we cut away to a different group of 4 kids and an elderly professor navigating a forested island near mainland Japan. They find ancient writing in a cave depicting the Black Shadow spirits which were sealed away 10,000 years ago. Midway through Tyson and Daichi's battle, the mark on Daichi's head starts glowing, and back in the forest setting, the cave opens up a secret room. They find ancient Beyblades inside that possess the group and turn them into some mix between like Saint Seiya and the Dark Bladers from Season 1. They become vessels for the Black Shadow spirits who are seeking Strata Dragoon, a bit beast that Daichi unknowingly carries. Daichi doesn't get the battle he wants, and the core group of Blade Breakers board a ship to visit their teacher, Miss Kincaid's hometown, for some reason. It's not a field trip because it's just Tyson, Max, Ray, Chief, and Hillary, no other classmates. Also, Max goes, "Kai should be here," and he's right. Where is Kai? What the hell is this? There's a bunch of weird stuff in this middle section before the action pops off. There's a bizarre line here when they meet an elderly woman who accuses Max of dyeing his hair blonde. She goes, "You're too young to be dyeing your hair to impress girls," and he replies, "You can tell?" suggesting she's right. I always assumed Max was blonde because he's a mixed Japanese-American kid with a white mom who was also blonde, but according to the movie, he's dyed his hair. Also, we get a little beach scene with the gang in their swim trunks, except Ray for some reason, who does not get any outfit changes this movie. I don't know if it's because Ray's design in V-Force is too peak, or if it has something to do with Ray being from China. They thought they couldn't reinterpret his costume. There's even a festival scene later where they've all changed into nice festival appropriate outfits, except for Ray. First no Kai, now this Ray fashion injustice. It's all too much. Daichi has followed the group to the island to get his rematch with Tyson, and we discover that his father died 2 years ago. The dad left him Strata Dragoon, the Beyblade, to fend for himself. It's kind of sad. My distant memories of Daichi were that he was some kind of child of the woods, like raised by animals or something, but here it suggested he had a home and a family before kind of becoming homeless. Tyson, who hears this origin story, feels bad and gives him the rematch he wants, except it's interrupted by those 4 Dark Bladers possessed by the Shadow Spirits. They want Daichi and they kidnap the poor lad by lifting the rowboat he's on with their minds. The core team, still minus Kai, go after the Shadow Kids and find Daichi, now possessed, with white hair that makes him look like Killua from Hunter x Hunter or a child version of One Punch Man's Garo the human monster. They've manipulated Daichi into summoning Strata Dragoon, which allows their Shadow Spirit Bit Beast to finally rise. Tyson's Dragoon loses a battle and is trapped in a mural in the cave setting, and then the cave collapses, trapping Tyson inside, although the others escape. The Shadow Bladers and their Bit Beasts make their escape, and their first stop is to terrorize Miss Kincaid's Beyblade's home island. We witnessed this intense and really well animated typhoon attack the island. Suddenly, finally, everyone's boy Kai appears. Horrified by the disaster, he says, "Only a Bit Beast could do this," which I don't think is true, Kai. I think a typhoon could do this. The Shadow Bit Beasts are fully CG in this film, and so are the Heroes Bit Beasts. Here I should pause and say, this kind of stinks 20 years later, at least in my opinion. By V-Force, they had switched from 2D animating every Bay battle in Series 1 to using CG animation for the spinning tops, but still using 2D drawings for the Bit Beasts. In the film, it's all 3D from the tops to the beasts. I don't think it was any kind of cost-cutting measure in 2002. I think it was them genuinely excited about using a new technology, but in 2024, I don't love looking at the CG Bit Beasts, and it's a bummer that the otherwise gorgeous Beyblade movie has so much CG action. Anyways, Tyson escapes the cave after speaking with Dragoon, as he's done a few times at this point in the series. They remind each other to have faith in one another, and Tyson's white Dragoon blade turns red for this film, which I don't hate. It's a cool movie-exclusive Dragoon blade I had never seen or heard of. Tyson rejoins the rest of the Blade Breakers on the island, which now thankfully includes Kai, and they challenge the Shadow Bladers, who each use black versions of Dragoon, Drigger, Dronzer, and Drasil. Of course, they have Daichi's Strata Dragoon on their side, until Tyson breaks whatever mind control was on Daichi by reminding him of his dad, of the gift he left him. The Blade Breakers who aren't Tyson all get KO'd, leaving the final push in Tyson and Daichi's hands. At last, Daichi is in full control of a Strata Dragoon fighting for good, and the team bests the Shadow Baddies. They return the dark, ancient Beyblades to the cave on the off-coast island, and once they step off the island, it sinks into the ocean. Max goes, "I guess everything worked out for the best," which is just kind of a funny thing to say right after an entire island sinks into the sea. And that is Beyblade's first movie. At just under an hour and 10 minutes, it's short, but not absurdly short for one of these anime movies, actually longer than most Digimon movies. Its animation was strong, the best Beyblade has looked in terms of the environments, character shadow work, and moment-to-moment action, but as I said earlier, the hand-drawn Beyblade battles of Season 1 were sorely missed, and the switch to fully CG Bit Beasts meant that we didn't get to see this gorgeous movie-quality animation for beloved monsters like Dragoon and Dronzer. As for the dub versus sub, I jumped around, though mostly stuck with the English dub. I continue to be a fan and defender of Beyblade's OG Nelvana dub, but I will say the decision to reuse music from the show instead of using the Japanese soundtrack or creating new music, I think this was a mistake. Reusing tracks we recognize from the show took away from the feeling that I was watching a Beyblade movie. Hearing the same melodies and stingers from any given episode made this feel like a 3-part episode of the TV show, despite it looking so much bigger and better than that. This was probably a decision that came about because they had this music already and it was familiar to an English audience, whereas the Japanese soundtrack wouldn't have been familiar. But yeah, it sometimes made me question if I was watching a movie or a lost episode. Beyblade the movie, much like V-Force, the season it borrows an art style from, is dumb, inconsequential fun. All of the excellent character development you remember from Beyblade really happened already in Series 1, but there's solid action and new scenarios for beloved characters in this 1-hour adventure. Tyson is not an unbearable menace like he is in V-Force the series, and I like seeing him step up to sort of mentor a new generation of Blader. Presumably, that'll be something we see more of in G-Revolution, which I watched 20 years ago but remember nothing about. Overall, fun movie, but the lack of Kai content is disturbing, and not letting Rei change clothes is downright cruel. What did you think of Beyblade the movie? Do you remember it all after all these years? Is this your first time hearing about it? If you didn't know, I reviewed all of Beyblade Series 1 this year and Beyblade V-Force. I'll link to that playlist of videos in the description. I also wrote an original Monster Tamer novel that just released 2 weeks ago, a story inspired by Digimon, Beyblade, Metabots, and all those Monster Tamer anime we loved from the 2000s. Dot Monster Revolution is available now and the reception has been great so far. I'm going to link to that below as well in case you're interested in reading the preview pages and picking up your own copy. Thank you for watching, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.